So, what if I told you that pretty much everything you think you know about human history is wrong? That for most of our time on this planet, we weren't special at all. Our species, Homo sapiens, was just another animal, kind of middle of the pack, mostly just trying not to get eaten. Our journey to ruling the world, well, that's one of the biggest secrets in natural history. So let's pull back the curtain and see how we went from being prey to, well, the predator of the entire planet. Yeah, this quote from Yuval Noah Harari's book, Sapiens, it cuts right to the bone, doesn't it? For millions of years, we were basically unremarkable. We had no more impact on the environment than a jellyfish or a woodpecker or a gorilla. Seriously. So the real question is, how on earth did we get from there to, well, to here? I mean, just look at the scale of this transformation. It's almost unbelievable. 2 million years ago, our ancestors were hiding from big cats, cracking open bones that other predators left behind just to get at the marrow inside. And today? Today we're splitting the atom and walking on the freaking moon. We went from being a background character in the ecosystem to the undisputed rulers of Earth. How did an insignificant ape pull that off? Well, to even begin to solve this mystery, we have to deal with another secret, a big one. It's a secret Homo sapiens has kind of tried to keep hidden in the family closet. We were not alone. Not by a long shot. Think about that. For the vast majority of our time on Earth, it was totally normal for multiple human species to be walking around at the same time. It's actually our current situation, being the only human species left, that's the real historical oddity. And what a family it was, huh? You had the Neanderthals, stocky, muscular, perfectly built for the ice ages in Europe. You had Homo erectus, the most durable humans ever, who survived in Asia for almost 2 million years. I mean, we're not going to break that record. Not a chance. You even had the tiny hobbits on the island of Flores in Indonesia and the super mysterious Denisovans, who we only know about from a single fossilized pinky bone found in a cave in Siberia. You know that famous picture of evolution, right? The one with the monkey slowly standing up and becoming a modern human, all in a nice, neat, orderly line.
So is that how it happened? One species just neatly replacing the last one? Yeah, not even close. That whole linear model is probably one of the biggest misconceptions we have about our own past. The truth is so much messier and way more interesting. 100,000 years ago, Earth wasn't a planet with one kind of human. It was a planet with at least 6 different kinds. It was a world of humans. Okay, so if we weren't the only ones, what gave us, sapiens, the edge? We always point to one thing, right? Our big brains. But what if that amazing brain of ours actually came with a really steep, hidden price tag? The cost of running our brain is just mind-boggling. It's only about 2 or 3% of our body weight, but it eats up a quarter, 25% of our body's energy when we're just sitting on the couch doing nothing. For other apes, it's only about 8%. That's a massive energy drain, and that energy has to come from somewhere, like our muscles. You know, a chimp can't win a debate with you, but for most of history, it could have easily ripped your arms off.
And it gets even more complicated. Walking upright, that was a game changer, right? It freed up our hands, but it also meant we needed narrower hips. And that created a huge problem, literally a bottleneck for childbirth, especially since our big brain babies were evolving bigger and bigger heads. The crazy evolutionary solution? We started being born prematurely, with our brains still seriously underdeveloped. And the result of that? Our babies are completely helpless for years, and it takes a massive group effort to raise them. It literally takes a tribe to raise a human child, which forced us to become the super social creatures we are today. So, our big brains and our social groups are starting to take shape. But what happened when our sapiens ancestors migrating out of Africa came face to face with their long-lost cousins, like the Neanderthals?
For decades, scientists had 2 totally different stories. The interbreeding theory, well, that was a story of attraction, where sapiens and Neanderthals met, had kids, and slowly merged into one big family. But then there was the replacement theory, which told a much darker story, one of conflict, maybe even genocide, where sapiens just wiped the Neanderthals out.
For a really long time, most people believed the replacement theory. It was just cleaner. But then, in 2010, something incredible happened. Scientists finished mapping the entire Neanderthal genome.
And what they found inside it, well, it stunned everybody. And this was the clue. It turns out that if you're of European or Middle Eastern descent, you have between 1 and 4% Neanderthal DNA in you right now. It's not a lot, but it is absolutely not zero. The replacement theory couldn't be the whole story. So the reality, as it so often is, was somewhere in the middle. The two populations didn't just merge into one happy family, but they weren't so different that they couldn't have kids. It was probably pretty rare, but every now and then a Sapiens and a Neanderthal had a child, and a few of those Neanderthal genes are still with us, hitching a ride right into the 21st century. This brings us to the final, and let's be honest, the most haunting part of this story. If we didn't completely replace them, and we only rarely interbred with them, then where did everybody else go? Why are we the last ones left? The timeline tells a really chilling story. It seems that shortly after Homo sapiens shows up in a new part of the world, the native human population just vanishes. The Neanderthals survived in Europe for hundreds of thousands of years. We show up, and within a few thousand years, they're gone. The little hobbits on Flores held out until just 12,000 years ago. Then they vanished too. You can't deny the correlation. Now, maybe we were just better at hunting and gathering and we just outcompeted them for food. Or maybe it was something much more direct. Let's face it, tolerance is not exactly a sapien specialty. If we can have wars and genocides over small differences in skin color or belief, imagine how we would have treated an entirely different human species. And so for the last 10,000 years or so, we've been completely alone. And that profound solitude has really shaped us. It makes it really easy for us to think we're the pinnacle of creation, that we're somehow separate from the rest of the animal kingdom. You know, being an only child has made us pretty arrogant. Which leaves us with one last big, lingering thought. Just imagine for a second a world where we weren't alone. A world where Neanderthals or Denisovans still existed. How would that have changed our religions, our politics, our very idea of what it means to be human? And maybe that's exactly why they couldn't survive. Maybe they were just a little too familiar for us to ignore, but far too different for us to tolerate.